MP for Middlesbrough South and East Cleveland and proud community union member. Good afternoon to colleagues across the trade union movement, PCS, Unison, GMB, UCU, FBU and the wider trade union movement and of course the CWU. We've been fighting in Parliament since May on behalf of Middlesbrough and wider Teesside and the North East and this country to make sure that the legacy of a welfare state and socially provided services which our forefathers fought for in Europe during the Second World War is defended. I, like you, I'm a son, an infant of the infant Hercules, a son of Middlesbrough, a town founded by iron ore merchants and ironmongers who sold that steel across the world. But after 1945, our grandparents and parents didn't necessarily seize the means of production, but they certainly seized the means to guide and control their own lives. In things like the NHS, in things like a welfare state and pensions. These things we do hold dear. We now have a government that is now implementing and using the guise of a financial crisis to implement cuts which they have never thought they had the means to do. They are making and taking measures which even Margaret Thatcher didn't even dare do.
Here we go. Yeah. Tell me that.
The point is, and the arguments have been made already about why we are here, but the cuts haven't happened yet. And as Ken Clarke has already threatened and warned, the middle classes will soon start pricking up their ears when these cuts start to kick in. So you should be proud of yourselves for turning up today, for being the torchbearers of the message, of the truth, of what is actually going on. There is an alternative to what is going on. We see it across the Atlantic. A fine leader in Barack Obama. Exactly the same financial situation which Europe finds itself in. Exactly the same type of debt and deficit led by a monetarist Republican government at the time, which deregulated a financial system, which we all now having to bear. But Obama didn't back down. He looked to the great leaders of the Democrat Party in America, FDR, JFK. And JFK had a great economist advise him called John Kenneth Galbraith. And Galbraith said this: what is the use to you as an individual with a bright, shiny new Cadillac when the road you're driving down is full of potholes? What wealth do you have in your pocket when public wealth is undermined and held in contempt? We know this to be true. Without public wealth, you cannot have private wealth. Without public investment, you do not have private investment. The North East knows this. The right will provoke. I know myself. The Telegraph, the Daily Mail, the Times, know who they back. They've always been in the hands of the Tory party. And they will use their means and their methods to attack anyone who sticks their head up and questions the prevailing orthodoxy of that we're all here because we spend too much, but won't bring in regulation, for example, on loan sharks, won't bring in regulation, for example, on companies like Wonga.com that charge over 4,000% APR on payday loans. This is the situation we're in, and it's how we move on forward. You're the brave people who stuck your neck out. As ever, the trade union movement leading the way. What we need to do now is build the real coalition. Not the coalition in government, the real coalition of this country. And that will be the trade union movement. Small businesses in our towns and high streets that are going to suffer. It'll be the voluntary organisations and charities that are already seeing the cuts to their own funds. When we come together, we will show this government exactly what we actually mean. And it will be the democratic, disciplined, principled, peaceful, non-violent demonstrations like this which will prove that our ideas and our values are worth far more than any greed and contempt from any Tory opponent. Thank you very much.